There's a moment, just before you face your fear, where your heart pounds, your hands shake, your mind screams at you to run. It could be a conversation you've avoided, a truth you don't want to admit, a decision you've postponed for months. It doesn't matter what the fear is, what matters is that you feel frozen. But then, you take one step. You walk into the discomfort. Avoidance tells your brain, this thing is dangerous. And so your fear grows stronger. You start to doubt yourself more. You shrink your world smaller. It builds self-trust, because every time you do something that scares you, you're sending yourself a message, I can handle this. I won't break. Over time, this rewires your entire identity. You stop seeing yourself as fragile or incapable. It reveals where you feel unprepared, insecure, or wounded. Facing fear will make your stomach twist and your voice tremble. The truth is, you don't need to eliminate fear to grow, you just need to stop giving it control. And courage isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes, it's a quiet step forward. A shaky breath. A whispered, I'm doing this anyway. You are not fragile. You are not your doubts. You are capable of far more than your fear wants you to believe. But the discomfort is not a sign to stop, it's a sign you on the edge of transformation. On the other side of fear is freedom. Freedom to live boldly, to love fully, to take up space, to try without perfection, to speak without apology. Every fear you face becomes a door. And every time you walk through it, you come back stronger, braver, and more aligned with who you really are. And by facing it, you don't just overcome an obstacle, you often heal a part of yourself. For example, someone afraid of rejection might face their fear by expressing their feelings honestly. Even if they don't get the response they want, they prove to themselves that their voice matters. That they can survive disappointment. That they can live in truth, not silence. That's not just bravery, it's growth. You start seeing yourself as someone who feels fear, but acts anyway. That's real strength. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of courage despite it. You become trapped, not by the thing you fear, but by your belief that you can't handle it. But when you confront your fear directly, even if it's hard, the fog begins to lift. You realize what matters. You see yourself more clearly. You discover that the fear was often bigger in your mind than it ever was in reality. That clarity creates momentum. And with each step forward, the fear loses its grip. But when you face your fear, everything changes. The moment you do what scares you, speak up, walk away, take a risk, admit the truth, your brain starts to rewire. It learns that fear doesn't mean danger. It learns that you are stronger than the story you've been telling yourself. This process is called exposure in psychology. When you gradually expose yourself to what you fear, your brain adjusts. The amygdala becomes less reactive. Your nervous system starts to calm down. Confidence grows not by avoiding fear, but by proving to yourself, over and over again, that you can face it and survive. You do the very thing your fear told you not to do. And suddenly, something shifts. Not in the world outside, but inside you. That's the power of facing your fears. It doesn't mean you don't feel afraid, it means you finally stop letting fear decide your life. But what actually happens in your mind, body, and brain when you face your fears head-on? Why does it feel so overwhelming at first? And so freeing afterward? Today, we're going deep into the psychology of courage and the real transformation that begins the moment you confront what scares you most. Fear is one of the most primal and powerful human emotions. It's not weakness, it's a survival mechanism. When you face something threatening, real or imagined, your brain activates the amygdala, the emotional center that triggers the fight or flight response. Your body floods with adrenaline. Your heart races. Your muscles tighten. You become hyper-aware, ready to escape or defend yourself. This reaction was designed to protect us from danger, wild animals, life-threatening risks, physical harm. But in the modern world, most of our fears aren't about survival. They're about emotional pain. Rejection, failure, abandonment, embarrassment, change, these are the fears that silently shape our lives. And what's worse? Most people don't even realize they're being controlled by fear. They call it playing safe, being realistic, or waiting for the right time. But underneath all that logic is often a simple truth: they're afraid. And that fear builds walls around who they really are. When you avoid your fears, you feel a sense of short-term relief, but long-term anxiety. Emotionally, facing your fears builds resilience. It teaches you how to sit with discomfort without running away. Facing your fears also unlocks clarity. So many people live confused, stuck between what they want and what they're afraid of. They overthink. They procrastinate. But here's something most people overlook: fear always has something to teach you. It's a signal. A mirror. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Fear will always be a part of life. But it doesn't have to be the author of your story. So whatever you've been avoiding, whatever has been keeping you stuck, remember this: the fear you feel is real, but so is your courage. Because once you face your fear, you don't just change how you feel. You change who you are.